As the Battle of Boston was underway, Schwantz ordered the assault on Lightfoot to commence, with the troops of his Connecticut line leading the charge. The artillery on the fort opened fire, signaling the beginning of the battle. The rebels would have to cross over marshy and open ground to even reach the fort. And the first casualty of the day would be the American horse, annihilated by the fort's guns, and now the gunners would focus their sights on the Connecticut boys attempting to cross the Albany Road. Though the rebel navy was present, they were unable to elevate their guns to reach the fort. Schwantz would order them back in order to save them the effort. Schwantz would have to rethink his plans.
All right.
Well, so our cab is destroyed. Could have swore I said we should have pulled it back.
Yeah, I don't care about them.
We need things like horses.
We still have dragoons up the trail.
Oh, kidding. So what do you want to do?
I think this fort means nothing. The ships won't be able to hit us or support us like I thought. We're on the road. Let's march to Albany.
Schwantz decided to left face his army and head towards Albany, across the bridge. But the British were not keen to let them leave without at least some casualties. In order to cover his withdrawal, Schwantz would decide to use his 2 batteries of medium artillery to shell the fort.
I just remember I have to move those guys there.
Sometimes you play ball. I've seen playing ball on the line.
Crusader Kings.
Crusader Kings. I'm playing Age of Empires a lot, though.
Dude, Age of Empires.
I've been trying to play Crusader Kings on the hard difficulty.
So what are we doing?
All right.
Dude, if they're leaving,
They overestimated our strength,
Exactly.
and I think
They're retreating.
that played to our advantage. You guys were right. We should have held the fort, and we did hold the fort. Initially, I was panicked because I thought we were going to be advanced on by more than just one
regiment.
ball, the regiment.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think
Are those
obviously we can't reach them because I was thinking maybe we could ride out with our dragoons and kind of like shut them up their
Harry
losses,
them a
but-
little bit.
We
took
can't.
out.
But
company, yeah.
unfortunately, we got a little thing. I think we should fire one more time on their artillery and then kind of just keep our artillery hitting so that way we don't take more losses and have them leave and we'll call it a day.
The battle for Fort Lightfoot has ended, kind of stalemate, and you have withdrawn west across the Hudson River.
So we're in Albany right now.
I'll say you're just not entering Albany. You'll get a full report of what is there and if there's any opposition next turn.
We're gonna wait and have the new year here in Albany. Get the troops rested up because we're not done marching. The sloops are gonna be.
You know what you need to do? Send them. Am I allowed to send it?
I don't know.
I'm not allowed to send it.
Have I got any word about my forces in Montreal? Colonel Arnold was supposed to go up there.
So you received a dispatch as you were entering Albany.
Yeah, they were disorderly.
Yes. So the dispatch from General Arnold that went up to Montreal.
He's Colonel.
Colonel Arnold. He informs you that when he arrived, everything was a mess.
Yes.
He reported that all the men had pretty much went on drunken stupor and pretty much started raiding and pillaging the town.
I would expect no less than a
General Manfurter.
So did anything change from last time?
So he reports that General Manfurter is nowhere to be seen.
Yes. That's what he said last time. I thought this was the turn he was supposed to.
Well, he's taking command.
Okay.
He has taken command of the troops in Montreal. He is sending out search parties looking for General Manfurter. He believes that he is either dead or has been kidnapped.
Exactly.
Let me ask this question actually though. We've gotten our objective. Like when do they basically stop? Like I can't realistically see that they feel like they have a leg to stand on.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
So
we've taken Boston, we've basically killed most of their army. Like when do we literally just have to shoot them man for man?
So no. So pretty much all these have grander consequences.
Okay.
Okay, I can't tell you what those consequences are for the Americans, but yeah.
Okay. So basically right now there's still a force that's basically in Albany that we still.
There's still an okay sized force
Somewhere.
the Americans aren't like 100% decimated like
There's a shattered regiment in Albany, the regiment in Boston's gone, and then they have something in Canada.
Or at least something north of us, that's for sure.
They took Montreal with whoever the
Are we
dragoons said.
positive that was the same force that was in Albany came from the Worcester battle? Those were those boys?
I would hazard a guess to say yes, because
Okay.
I don't think anything else could come across from there.
Alright, so what's going on? Are we raising troops? Are we raising morale? Are we rebuilding? Are we going to load up our boys in Boston? Go ahead and start that since we know they're over there?
I think we should honestly reinforce the Boston stronghold because they're going to try and take that back. And maybe the one in Albany as well, reinforce that one. And then everything left, we should probably send up north.
Oh, I do agree. Ultimately, we need to go north. I was thinking we take what we got from Boston that can go on a ship and load it on a ship to New York. Leave that garrison in Boston. March everything else west: Worcester, Hadley, Northampton to Albany, and then whatever's in New York City, march north from Kingston to Albany. We get them like across.
Yeah, I agree.
And then whatever we decimate there, they'll have to run to the northwest. So we can just keep pushing them towards Canada and then
Get them
destroy
out of
what's
here.
left over there.
Yeah, I agree.
Can you scroll up just real quick?
So, the 44th Regiment of Foot will be loaded up on sloops and sent to New York City. 3 companies that are more or less under strength are going to stay in Boston, and every other Regiment of Foot is going to march west towards Fort Lightfoot.
In early January 1777, American forces had occupied Albany, with their forces concentrated near there. The British, however, were not sitting idly by. All forces began moving west in order to close the ring on the rebels.
My boys have just received word about the butcher at Boston.
Yes, they've received word of the Battle of Forlorn Hope.
In order to raise morale, I'm going to share this letter with the troops and tell them that we're never going to surrender. This is what they do to their enemies. This is how savage the British are.
Like the reward, 100 golden guineas to any man in New England that can bring me the escaped General Adcock
With one
back
less
to me.
leg. I want him to have one less leg when he brings him to me.
Yeah.
One less leg.
Barkley one leg. Then he can bring him back alive to
Bring him back alive
the
with
nearest British
0
garrison
legs.
to get 100 golden guineas. So I want that leaflet to be disseminated throughout New England.
All right, that'll be your special move.
That's fine.
It has reached everywhere.
Alright, I would like to try to raise a small force of militia out of Lancaster.
Okay, go ahead and roll for that.
Get resupplied. 17.
17. Give me this.
Get resupplied. Give me some troops.
17 as well. Okay, so with that, you're going to raise 3 companies of militia.
Okay.
3 companies of militia say they will join you.
During late January, early February, the Americans had made their plan. Schwantz would advance south in order to attack the hopefully undefended New York, whilst Adcock raised a guerrilla army in the British rear. The British, meanwhile, had been halted on the other side of the Connecticut River, due to the bridges being destroyed. The only forces able to reach the Hudson River would be the Royal Navy contingent and land forces under Colonel DeForge.
What I'd like to do, let's confirm that we don't have a one-legged pagan man somewhere in our midst of our forces that's traveling with us, since he's obviously wearing a British uniform.
Right. Let's do
I'd like to do a head count.
a
and I
pass
want-
and review.
That's going to be your turn.
That's fine.
That's going to be your special
That's
move.
fine. We need
I want it, and this will be to the bottom of the
Breeches up.
All right, roll
Lift
for
your
it.
breeches.
Roll the dice.
This one.
Yep.
Look at that ceiling.
Okay, so in your past review, your men look great. Yeah, they've all raised their stockings. Everyone has 2 legs. However, you do receive word on your way through Worcester that a merchant gave a horse to a British soldier who said he was lost.
Of course he did.
But he only and this soldier promised him that he'd be reimbursed ×2 for the loss of the horse. But he realized that after the soldier started riding off, that the uniform had blood all over it.
Okay.
Did he say what direction this horseman?
He said he was riding north, and he met them on the Worcester-Boston Road.
In early February, the British were attempting to rebuild the Hadley Bridge with every man they could muster. Meanwhile, Schwantz, hoping for a lightning attack, loaded up all of his Connecticut regiment onto ships and planned to sail south directly to New York City, with the remainder of his land force traveling parallel with the fleet via the road. However, contact would be made on the Hudson, as both American and British fleets met in a surprise encounter.
Much else to do, so it's either fight or die. And I know they're not just going to surrender, so.
Okay, so
Alright,
we are having one.
Got nothing on that one.
Here, hand me some white flour.
Shoot that man in the face.
Shoot in the face, sir.
Shoot him in the face.
In the face. He shot himself. In the face.
He shot the man?
As the naval forces began to engage, the rebel
Okay, these
artillery on
batteries are
land
gonna
returned
fire
to
these
fire
bad
at the
boys.
British ships.
I think they were both within range.
We're taking in IDF.
I got 7.
The British fleet began to form a line of battle. The British commanders were confident that their ship's gunnery would outmatch the Americans. This assumption would prove correct, as an ammo detonation would send an American brig into the depths of the Hudson. In our rules, glinting bayonets, rolling a 12 causes an instant ammo detonation on a ship, depending on the ship class and conditions, of course. Here you can see the result of such a roll.
Oh my god.
Flagship is gone, baby!
Well, my admiral just died.
You get to lose these too. What's the term for ammo racking?
You've been kablucked.
You're blocked, I thought it was.
Kerblocked.
Another display of British gunnery was shown when the American flagship was blown to bits by a concentrated British broadside. However, shortly before this devastating loss, the line regiment that was stationed on the fleet had begun rowing for their lives to shore, taking minimal casualties. The American fleet would go down fighting. A broadside managed to blow a British brig to bits, raising the morale of Schwantz's troops.
Yeah. So these guys are hightailing it back that way, it looks like to me, but they're
They're gonna be covering their retreat.
the main regiment, yeah, is covering the retreat.
That's
So
fine.
what I wanted to do was possibly maybe just do a one-on-one, because they left this guy out just to die, it seems like.
If we take that out, we take out the American Navy.
So would it be better to just, instead of flanking them this way and take out those rowboats, just take this guy out?
No,
At least try
I think
to.
it's good to take that guy out and then move towards those rowboats because we'll be able to shoot their troops on that side.
Okay, then that's what I'll do. That's what I needed to find out.
Yeah.
Finally, the remnants of the Connecticut regiment had landed ashore, some still on fire. As the last vestiges of the American Navy were fighting the British in the Hudson, it seemed as though the British were mirroring the Americans, as they too had begun landing their troops ashore as well.
If they lost their flagship, shouldn't they have a morale deficit?
This isn't much. Okay. I will give you a can of barbasol.
A 4, that is a hit there on.
That's a 1.
That's a 5, so.
Okay.
So another bead.
Another bead.
Fire upon that boy right there.
And miss.
And I'm not within a quarter inch, so.
We're just waiting on each other. Hey,
Ammo did it!
The last American brig seemed to be putting in the work of an entire squadron, as it got another critical hit on another British ship, sending it to the bottom of the Hudson. This is when the British received some news.
Hey, so the cavalry that you dispatched from Fort Lightfoot to check out Albany, you received a report back.
Okay.
Albany is deserted.
Cool.
So you can ascertain that this is
Is the last of the American
is the
force.
American army that seized Albany.
They seized it?
Well, remember
when
that-
they marched through, they captured. But this is
Because they
obviously
received no
their whole
resistance.
American force, which means they're going back for Albany.
Alright.
So, they're obviously going to be marching back and going back that way.
Yeah.
You have a choice. We can either go back to our fort because we know what way they're going, or we could take our artillery out, post up in Albany, and at least hold them, and then push this force up.
That's
And
what I'm thinking.
The British in-game was to force the Americans to Albany, and hopefully catch them in a hammer and anvil strike with their force crossing the mountains. However, they were unaware that Schwantz had dispatched the Montreal garrison south to join him.
Well, let's can we set up our troops?
Oh yeah, set up our troops.
Alright.
As Colonel DeForge's British regiment had finally landed ashore, the American batteries opened fire on
So
them.
what's the roll now?
Simultaneously, in the river,
Is it +2? supposed to.
There was a
So
boarding
control-
action as the British attempted to capture the last American
Yeah, okay.
ship
Yes.
and add it to their spoils of war.
Board that ship!
Oh, good deal.
All right, gentlemen. So, as your sailors are currently fighting aboard this American ship, they notice that some Americans slowly start like disappearing, going below decks,
Oh.
and you see all of them raise their hands and say, "We surrender," and they bring their captain above board, and they shoot him in the head.
They shoot the captain in the head?
They shoot the captain in the head.
Americans shoot their captain in the head.
Yes, and they tell you that the reason.
That's it.
Oh, no. You want to hear the reason?
I want
Yeah,
to get
they
it.
tell you the reason is because the captain tried to go below deck and light the entire gunpowder magazine.
You
to
know
kill
what?
them
Trying
all.
to blow up the ship.
No,
Yeah.
he tried to blow the ship.
And with that final defeat, General Schwantz issued an order to the army to withdraw back to Albany to set up defensive positions.
So, we're going to call this a
A
win
British
for the
victory?
British.
Since
And
the Americans are retreating.
as the Americans are retreating, we're going to be pulling our ships back this way. We're going to leave the army right there for right now.
En route back to Albany, General Schwantz confers with his staff on what their next move should be.
Okay. Early February, post the Battle of Mid-Hudson. So Congress tells you that they are very pleased with Montreal, the French are, and that they have pledged nominal support currently. You'll be receiving that support in the form of 2 brigs and a frigate.
Can we dictate where they come in at?
The French have already dispatched it, so the word's not going to reach them until they hit the coast.
And then General Colvin is still coming up, expected mid-March or
Yes,
early March.
yeah, you received word that at least a regiment of North Carolinians have just crossed the border into Pennsylvania.
What does Congress know right now? What is taking place?
So, as far as Congress is aware, last Congress heard is
I
that
was heading toward Lightfoot.
No. So I'm saying you've nominally been sending dispatches to them. You know,
Okay.
They last know that you were about to take contact somewhere near Albany. That's the last they've heard.
I say we let Congress know our plan. And if they can do something to help us, which they haven't so far, so I don't see why they would. See, they're
Fine. My dispatch to Congress, and I'm going to move those troops in Montreal. Send a dispatch to Colonel Arnold. Tell him to march with all haste down to Saratoga.
all haste.
Send a letter to Congress informing them that we had some contact south of Albany,
Things got a little sticky there.
and we lost most of our Navy.
Do we own all of New England yet?
No. So, as far as you're aware, New Hampshire here, still rebel control. These parts of upstate New York, so Montreal, Plattsburgh, Saratoga, and currently Albany, Washington, and Crabsbury. So, here, I'll just outline it.
Okay. Let's, while you're doing
This
that,
right here,
still Americans?
that right there, this is what you control.
Okay.
This is all nominally under American control. They might not have troops stationed there.
Yeah, but it's just American influence. Here's what I'll do. I will dispatch one regiment, and I want them to just start marching towards Portsmouth. Portsmouth. Oh, no, it's Mouth. Yeah, Portsmouth. Hey, you got a nice mouth on you. Hey.
Pretty sure it's muff, but whatever.
Yeah, that says M-O-U-T-H.
Okay.
You-
So you'll send them there. They will be there in 2 turns. 2 turns they will be there.
Well, that's going to be the one regiment. That's fine. The rest of them, I want them marching towards Albany.
Okay. The bridge is now completed at Adler.
Is now completed?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
now completed. So they'll march over. They will be there. They have to cross the mountain, so I'll say 2 turns.
2 turns as well?
Yeah. 2 turns.
Okay. Yeah, basically that's what I want.
So that'll be 3 regiments moving from Hadley, 1 regiment moving to Portsmouth, and your 5th Regiment will be heading up to Albany.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Late February, Americans. So, your troops have finally reached Albany.
Colonel Arnold's in Saratoga.
No, he's probably starting to cross this bridge across from Saratoga now. There's an issue. Your troops are taking contact at Albany.
Okay, what about him?
Do you want to fight it out, or you want to withdraw somewhere else?
What's the enemy force look like?
Same enemy force that was on the table here, right?
Currently, no.
How?
No.
How can that be?
That force is still trailing you. It is still right behind you.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. You've taken contact in Albany. So far, it has only been some cannon shots. Some cannon fire from inside the city.
Well, I'm not even in the area, so I can't say anything.
What would you like to do, General?
If I fight, I get pinched.
I will also state that you have noticed that the British Navy is also sailing parallel with you.
I'm going to send
the
a
river.
rider out real quick. To General Colvin, informing him just to head to New York. I will meet him there.
The force in Albany and the force chasing the force that's heading towards Albany, the American force, reports to you that the Americans are conducting a left face
Okay.
in front of your line, and they are moving into the woods.
Of course they are.
They are leaving 2 companies on the road to hold you off.
Okay.
Do you wish to pursue into the
I say
woods?
no.
Yeah, we're gonna stay right there.
Yeah, we'll say no.
Oh wait, so you're just gonna let them go into the woods then?
Yeah, they can go in the woods. I'd say go and pull back and go back to Kingston, so they don't try to go south on us. Let's wait for reinforcements. We know they're either going west or south, but let's make sure they don't get to the north.
Yeah, I would also say yeah, go to Kingston.
Yeah, we're gonna push the regiment that was south of Albany. They're gonna go push back. We'll hold Albany with the dragoons and artillery, and we'll keep waiting for the other regiments to cross over the mountains.
In late February, Hardick and Geske combined commands were exiting the Green Mountains to engage the Americans decisively in the west. Colonel DeForge's regiment would head south, towards Kingston, to link up with the Royal Navy there. Schwantz would tail DeForge, with his Montreal contingent about to be engaged north of Albany. However, unknown to DeForge, this would be exactly where the Americans would want him, as the long-awaited regiment of General Colvin would arrive from the west, catching him in a pincer if the Americans were quick enough. To the east, General Adcock, after raising 4 militia companies and an artillery battery with his rousing charisma, began a withdrawal after he was informed of a British force approaching from the south. The spring of 1777 would determine the fate of the Revolution in New England. We hope you enjoyed our episode on the Bayonets of 76 campaign. If you have any ideas on how our generals could wage the war in New England, send us a dispatch. Post haste. The fate of the war is in your hands.